On the bustling food street, as I was enjoying dumplings, a voice suddenly boomed from behind me. "Freeze! Police!" I turned to see a handsome man in an apron, who was actually an undercover officer. Completely bewildered, I asked, "What's this about? I haven't done anything illegal." He looked at me seriously. "Don't you know what you've done?" I paused, then blurted out, "Eating dumplings without dipping them in vinegar? I like dipping mine in chicken sauce. I admit it's a bit unusual, but surely it's not a crime worthy of arrest." Hearing that, the officer pressed down harder on me. "No joking around, stay still." Annoyed, I clutched my bowl of dumplings and fell silent. A moment later, he sniffed the air and asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm having a bite of my dinner dumpling." His eyebrow twitched. "I told you to stay put." At his harsh tone, I couldn't hold it in anymore and burst into tears. I spent the entire afternoon accidentally writing Beidou as GPS and astronaut as man flying to the sky. Then I forgot my headphones for the audio lecture, and every sentence of the reading was difficult. I've had a terrible afternoon. All I wanted was a hot bowl of dumplings, and I can't even have that. At the police station, a female officer offered me a glass of water, her eyes full of sympathy. "Eat slowly. If it's not enough, the cafeteria has carrot and egg fried rice that's also delicious. Or is there anything else you'd like?" Still clutching my reheated dumplings, I ravenously chewed, then looked up. "Officer, does the cafeteria have chicken sauce?" Before she could reply, the door to the visitors' room swung open. Captain Kim of the Criminal Investigation Team entered, followed by the very same undercover officer who had pinned me down earlier. "You're Luna, the student, right?" Captain Kim asked a few questions, then turned to scold the officer behind him. "Sean, apologize to Luna right now. She's a diligent student and you treated her like a criminal. What kind of behavior is that?" Officer Sean frowned. "I still think there's something suspicious about her. Not to mention her appearance and that furry eggplant-shaped bag she's carrying. It's so ugly, it couldn't possibly match anything." Hey, what did you just say?" I slammed my chopsticks down. "This bag cost me 1,600 yuan. How dare you call it ugly?" He paused, looking at it more closely, as if realizing his mistake. I snorted, rolling my eyes. "And another thing, this is my second one. I left the first one in the gym a few days ago." "What?" The other officers exchanged glances, then looked me up and down, their eyes full of unspoken meaning. "Sweetheart, have you offended anyone recently?" I continued eating my dumplings, muttering, "It's complicated. I'm not the Yuan, so not everyone has to like me." Officer Sean Tusked about to say something, but Captain Kim held up a hand to stop him. He smiled, his eyes crinkling. "All right. Once you've given your statement, Sean will drive you home as an apology for today's misunderstanding, okay?" The station wasn't close to my apartment, and if there was a ride offered, I certainly wasn't going to refuse. After finishing my dumplings, Sean drove me to my building. Out of habit, I opened the back passenger door. Sean shot me a less-than-friendly glare through the rearview mirror. "Do you seriously think I'm your chauffeur?" I mumbled an "oh," then walked around to the passenger seat. "I usually just take ride shares, I'm used to it." Sean glanced at me. "Your family seems quite well off." I nodded slowly. "Just moderately, we own a small mine." Sean was clearly taken aback, and it took him a few seconds to start the car. "You shouldn't flaunt your wealth. Be careful or bad people might target you." I muttered. I don't know if bad people are watching me, but today I was definitely targeted by the police. Sean touched his nose, looking a little embarrassed. "Sorry about that. It was mainly because you were wearing a hooded top and your build, plus the bag you had, looked exactly like the suspect. It was hard not to mistake you." I casually asked, "What suspect?" Sean didn't elaborate, simply replied, "A burglar who broke into a private residence." I gasped internally. My hand instinctively went to the CIA ring on my finger, then to my Van Cleef and Arpels bracelet. A shiver of fear ran through me. "So, am *** being targeted?" Sean shot me a look. "What do you think Captain Kim asked me to drive you home for today?" His gaze sent chills down my spine. "No way, I thought I lived a pretty low-profile life." "I don't live in a dorm, my dad bought me an apartment near school. My car was parked downstairs." I hesitated, still not wanting to get out of the car. Sean looked at me. "What's wrong?" I stammered. "Well, my cat. It knows how to do backflips. Do you want to come up and see?" Sean froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. It was the first time I'd seen him smile all evening. His eyes crinkled into crescent moons, finally melting away his aloof, distant demeanor. He looked handsome and strangely warm. "Oh, Luna," Sean said, leaning on the steering wheel, teasing. "If I didn't know you were scared of being targeted by a thief, I'd think you were genuinely inviting me up." I blinked, saying nothing. Sean had already reversed into a temporary parking spot and turned off the engine. He raised an eyebrow at me. "Come on, let's go see your cat do its backflips." My apartment building has only one unit per floor, and you can't go up without a key card, so I've always felt very safe and rarely took precautions. Reaching the 8th floor, I unlocked the door with my fingerprint. As I stepped inside, I called out, "Boss, come out and greet our guest." Sean heard this and looked both amused and helpless. "Look at the way you talk to your cat." "I have a black cat, quite hard to spot in the dark, but usually it's very friendly and clingy. Every time I come home, it sticks to me. It's strange today, though. I've called and called, but it's nowhere to be found." I thought for a moment. "Do you own a cat? Maybe it smells another cat on you and that's why it's reacting this way." Sean grabbed his shirt and pulled it up to his nose. "I don't own one, but my neighbor has a Maine Coon, and sometimes I pet it." Seeing his action, I instinctively leaned in to sniff as well. There was no cat smell, but a faint scent, like glutinous rice cakes. I looked up and saw Sean looking down at me, his eyes a little deep. "What are you doing?" I poked his chest with a finger. "You had red bean glutinous rice cakes tonight, didn't you?" Sean seemed surprised. "You can smell that too," I scoffed softly. "Don't underestimate the bond between a foodie and food." Sean chuckled again. I suddenly realized he actually smiled quite often, and more importantly, when he smiled, he was incredibly handsome and adorable with a cute snaggletooth. Feeling a flutter in my heart, I quickly straightened up and walked inside, feigning a cough. "There are slippers in the shoe cabinet, make yourself at home. I'm going to find my cat." Wait. Just as I reached the entrance to the living room, I suddenly stopped short. "Where's the stack of money I left on the coffee table?" From behind me, Sean spoke up. "Don't worry about being polite. If I don't see any issues, I'll head back. I was planning on working overtime at the station." "Leave me alone in the house?" I immediately turned and strode over to Sean. Under his astonished gaze, I hooked my arm over his shoulder, winked, and pouted coquettishly. "You've abandoned me for so long. Today, I don't care where you go, I'm going with you." Sean froze for a moment, but he wasn't stupid and reacted immediately. He put his arm around my shoulder, half shielding me behind him, his voice gentle and indulgent. "How could I leave you alone at home? How about this? You come with me. Once I've dealt with this, we can go for a late-night snack, okay?" I huffed, ignoring his embrace, and walked out the door. Click asterisk. As the door closed, I secretly let out a sigh of relief. That was intense. My acting skills were off the charts. Sean pulled me closer to the stairs, his eyes still fixed on my apartment door. "What happened?" I swallowed hard. "The stack of money I left on the coffee table is gone. There's definitely someone in the house or a burglar." Sean pulled out his phone to call his colleagues, looking utterly helpless at me. "So why did you leave money on the coffee table?" "I use it to weigh down the lid of my instant noodles. Is that not allowed?" I retorted defensively. "And if it weren't for that stack of money, how would I have discovered the problem? The yuan has truly done a great service again." Sean burst out laughing. "You're really something." He looks so much more handsome when he laughs. Why did he pretend to be so aloof at first, I wonder? "I'll take you downstairs first." Sean put his phone away and looked at me. "My team will be here in 10 minutes. I was a little worried about my cat. "Do you really think there's someone in there? What about my cat?" Sean pressed the elevator button. "Don't worry, I haven't seen its backflips yet, so I won't let anything happen to it." Down in the lobby, I sat in the waiting area, my legs trembling nonstop. Sean stood guarding the stairwell, raising an eyebrow at me. "So tense," I replied honestly. "It's my first time participating in such an exciting operation." Sean hesitated for a moment, then handed me his car keys. "Go wait in the car, lock the doors. I'll stand here and watch you get in." Knowing I shouldn't cause any more trouble, I obediently nodded and took the keys. Sean's keychain had an incredibly cute Cinnamoroll plush charm. I rubbed the charm as I walked out. Just as I stepped out from the glass doors, I froze, stiffening. I turned to look at Sean. "Sean, I think there's someone squatting next to your car." The streetlights in the complex have been flickering on and off because of electrical repairs lately, so I couldn't clearly see if it was a real person next to Sean's car. Sean immediately tensed up and gently waved me over. "Come here first." Just as I lifted my foot, I suddenly saw a dark shadow by the car dart towards me at lightning speed. "Oh my God," I shrieked, turning and bolting back towards Sean. "Sean, help." Sean was startled by my scream and instinctively threw his arms around me. "What's wrong?" I clung to him like a koala, burying my face in his neck, my voice trembling. It lunged at me. "Woof," a dog barked. My body stiffened. I looked down at Sean's feet. A husky almost half my height was happily running around us. Seeing me look, it barked again, jumped up, and playfully bit my shoe, its tail wagging furiously, an expression of indescribable joy on its face. "Damn it." "Who lets their dog off-leash like this?" Sean tried to suppress his laughter. "Help!" I was so embarrassed, I didn't know where to hide. Just as I was about to jump down from him, a voice suddenly exclaimed, "Well, well, well," from behind us. I turned my head to see Captain Kim, followed by several officers. They were all looking at me with knowing smiles. What is going on? I did get a late-night snack, but it was at the police station, and these carrot dumplings were utterly bland. "We've checked," Captain Kim said, walking in with Sean behind him. "There are signs of a break-in, but no one is inside. Probably a burglar. Please make a detailed list of lost items for Sean, and we'll open an investigation." I nodded. "Mum, understood." Captain Kim left. Sean sat down next to me and handed me a bag of food. "Once you're done, come with me to the visitor's room to give your statement." I reflexively took it, but as soon as I opened it, I froze. A bag of chicken sauce. My eyes widened as I looked at him. "Where did you get this?" "The cafeteria sells it," Sean said, gently tapping my forehead, a hint of helplessness in his voice. "You're not very observant, are you?" Secretly delighted, I ignored the head tap. I picked up a fresh pair of chopsticks, dipped a dumpling in the chicken sauce, and offered it to him. "Want a taste?" Sean frowned, full of resistance. "No, just try it," I enthusiastically promoted. "Carrot filling goes best with chicken sauce. It's sweet and sour and even a bit crunchy." Cornered, Sean reluctantly opened his mouth, took a bite of the dumpling, and chewed, a difficult-to-describe expression on his face. I dipped another one and held it to his mouth. "Good." Sean opened his mouth, chewed again. "Not good," I scoffed. "Not good, yet you're eating a second one. So stubborn." Quickly finishing the rest, I packed up the plastic container and looked at Sean. "Come on, let's go give our statements." As I spoke, I casually grabbed a tissue and vigorously wiped the chicken sauce from the corner of his mouth. Sean froze, his ears turning visibly red at an alarming rate. He cleared his throat. "Wiping that hard, you almost scrubbed off a layer of skin." I glanced at him, my eyes curving into a smile. "So what if I did? Would that count as assaulting an officer?" By the time Officer Sean finished taking my statement, it was late. I booked a nearby hotel to stay for the night. Sean drove me there. Before saying goodbye, I asked him, "Will you come with me home tomorrow?" He nodded. "Even if you didn't ask, I'd go. Your door definitely needs a new lock. I'll find a locksmith with a background check to help you." Hearing that, I felt much more at ease. My eyes crinkled in a smile. "Thanks, Officer Sean." Sean raised a hand to scratch his nose. "Just call me by my name. Calling me officer all the time makes it sound like you're mocking me." I chuckled. "Who said I was mocking you?" I leaned in, standing on tiptoes, and whispered softly into his ear, "Maybe it's just a little bit of flirty fun." After saying that, I stepped back, ready to enjoy the moment he'd surely blush. To my surprise, the moment I retreated, his arm wrapped around me, a strong hand on my waist, not letting me escape. I looked up to see Sean raise an eyebrow, a vague, dangerous smile playing on his lips. "Not embarrassed? Aren't you the type who blushes easily and gets shy? Playing flirty games with a police officer?" His voice was low, his eyes fixed on mine, slowly drawing closer. "Have you thought about the consequences, Luna? Don't tell me you're actually planning to arrest me." For a moment, I didn't know how to react, only managed a dry swallow. Luckily, Sean didn't make it difficult for me. He just gently pushed my shoulder and said, "I'll pick you up tomorrow." I mumbled a dazed, "Aha," almost tripping as I walked into the elevator. Originally, I just wanted to tease Sean, but now it felt like I'd accidentally pushed myself into a corner, or into marriage. The next morning, Sean picked me up to go home. Now, whenever I saw him, his ambiguous, almost smiling expression from last night immediately flashed in my mind, making me feel a bit awkward. We barely spoke a word on the way. As soon as we entered the apartment, the first thing I did was look for my cat. This time, Boss actually came out to greet me at the door, yawning and stretching, looking completely unfazed. "Good kitty," I cooed, picking up my cat and kissing it. Mama's taking you to a hotel today, okay? Sean put his phone away and walked over. I've already contacted a locksmith for you. They'll be here soon. I was a little dazed. Thank you. Sean looked at me for a few seconds, then suddenly raised his hand and gently touched my hair. I flinched, instinctively clutching my cat tighter and shrinking my neck. Boss let out a meow, kicked Sean's hand, and then zipped away. I glared at him. What are you doing? Sean helplessly raised his hand, pinching a strand of cat hair in front of me. I saw cat hair in your hair. I felt a little embarrassed. Just as I was about to say something, my eyes fell on the back of Sean's hand. I immediately gasped. Boss scratched you. It's bleeding. Sean didn't seem to mind much. It's just a cat scratch. It's fine. How can it be fine? My boss hasn't had its claws trimmed in ages. Seeing blood start to well on his hand, I quickly pulled him into the bathroom, made him wash his hands with soap, and then ran to find antiseptic alcohol. It looks quite deep. After he finished washing his hands, I carefully applied medicine to the wound, feeling a bit guilty. This isn't good. I should take you to get a tetanus shot. Don't worry, my boss is healthy and doesn't have any diseases. Sean said nothing. I looked up at him and saw that he wasn't paying any attention to his wound. Instead, he was looking at me. It's fine. Meeting my gaze, Sean suddenly smiled and ruffled my hair. Cats with a bit of personality are more adorable. Sean's head pat made me blush. What was happening to me? After the lock was changed, I still insisted on dragging him to get a tetanus shot. Better safe than sorry, after all. Sean was so overwhelmed by my pestering that he had no choice but to surrender. All right. Consider it an off-site mission today, he said. At his words, I suddenly remembered the main issue. How's the investigation into the break-in going? Any leads on the robbery suspect? Sean frowned. This guy is on the run inter-province. His accomplices have been caught, but the mastermind is very cunning. And from what I can tell, he's been observing you for a while. Otherwise, he couldn't have impersonated you so accurately. Hearing that, I instinctively touched my 2,000 yuan permed hair, then my 1,600 yuan eggplant-shaped bag, and finally my jewelry, worth tens of thousands. I thought to myself, this suspect is quite an extravagant spender. Sean chuckled. Impersonating you must have been quite a challenge. I wonder what he was thinking. I scoffed. There's no need for a reason to impersonate me. Everyone likes a beautiful woman after all. I expected Sean to call me shameless, but to my surprise, he just nodded. Yeah, everyone does. I blinked, looking at him. This time, Sean didn't look back. He was focused on the road ahead, his expression earnest, as if completely free of distractions. I watched his cheek for a long moment, then suddenly asked, "Do you like it too?" Sean didn't answer. The car stopped at a red light, and the atmosphere inside gradually grew quiet. It wasn't until the light turned green and Sean pressed the accelerator that he let out a soft breath, a hint of a chuckle in his voice. Yes, I like it too. After returning from the hospital, Sean and I barely saw each other for a week. The case seemed to be progressing, and he was incredibly busy. Sometimes, he'd only reply to my messages at midnight. After a week at the hotel with no further incidents, I decided to move back to my apartment. Mainly because, although the hotel was pet-friendly, it was too far from school, and commuting wasted too much time. I texted Sean, then took advantage of my free Friday afternoon to pack my luggage and return home. The electricity in the complex was still flickering as usual. As soon as I entered, I realized the power was out. The lights wouldn't turn on. There was also a faint smell of alcohol in the air. What the heck? I wondered. Did the wine in my cabinet leak and short-circuit the power? I called the management office, and they said the electricity was fine. That's strange, I muttered. I put down my cat carrier and reached in to pick up Boss. Come on out for a bit, darling. My black cat, Boss, let out a piercing hiss, its fur standing on end like a porcupine. I jumped back, startled, and immediately withdrew my hand. My cat is usually so well-behaved. It's never acted like this towards me. What on earth is going on? Winter nights fall quickly, and the apartment was dim. I put the cat carrier back on and decided to go outside first. Walking past the hallway, I instinctively glanced into my bedroom and immediately froze. Someone seemed to be curled up on my bed. Cold sweat ran down my spine. I felt as if all the calmness I possessed in my entire life had been used up in that single moment. Clutching my cat carrier and hugging my coat tightly, I slowly backed out of the apartment. Click asterisk. As the door closed, I let out a shaky breath, trembling violently. It took me several attempts to dial the police. Hello, officer, this is Luna. As the elevator doors opened, a familiar voice called out from behind me. I turned to see Sean's tense face and my composure instantly crumbled. "Sean!" I shrieked, throwing myself at him, sobbing uncontrollably. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Sean quickly held me tight, looking incredibly worried. "What happened?" I clung to his shirt, trying to suppress my sobs to avoid alerting anything inside. "There's someone in my apartment." Sean's expression immediately changed, but his arms remained tightly wrapped around me, a steady shield. "It's okay, don't be scared, I'll call for backup right now." I nodded, clinging to him tightly. Sensing my terror, Sean led me towards the stairwell, his voice gentle and soothing. "It's okay, don't be afraid, I'm here." I looked up at him, my eyes still welling with tears. Sean's gaze was so tender it melted my heart, as if he were protecting something incredibly precious. He gently wiped my tears, slowly, deliberately saying each word. "Luna, don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, you won't be harmed." The police arrived quickly. Sure enough, there was someone in my apartment, none other than the very burglar who had impersonated me before. This person used to work as a locksmith and was incredibly skilled at opening electronic locks like mine with just a card. As for why he was passed out on my bed, the reason was utterly ridiculous. He had initially just intended to steal, but seeing that I wasn't coming home, he brazenly decided to stay, turning my apartment into his own private residence. And as if that wasn't enough, he secretly drank my wine. And not just any wine, but a random concoction I'd mixed myself. The result? He poisoned himself with alcohol. I was already out of the station, and he was still busy throwing up. "All right, I know." In front of the police station, Sean put his phone away, his expression a little complicated. "The hospital just called, the burglar is out of danger." I was speechless. "So I won't have to pay his medical bills, right?" Sean burst out laughing. "Of course not, you just need to list the missing items." I sighed. "I can lose anything, as long as I don't lose my life, that's good enough." Sean nodded. We looked at each other for a moment, then both burst into laughter. Oh my God, what even is this situation? I was utterly speechless. I rubbed my stomach, tugging at Sean's sleeve, a pitiful expression on my face. "I've been up all night and I haven't eaten anything. I'm starving, I could faint." "Why didn't you say so sooner?" Sean naturally took my hand and pulled me towards the parking lot. "What do you want to eat?" I looked at my hand, held securely in his warm palm, and smiled. "Anything, chicken soup, dumplings." Hearing that, Sean raised an eyebrow. "What a coincidence. I know a place that sells really good dumplings." That good place turned out to be Sean's house. When we arrived, I stared at the apartment building in front of me, a little stunned. From behind, Sean gently nudged me. "Why aren't you going in?" I blinked awkwardly. "Isn't this moving a bit fast? We just held hands and now we're at your place." "Not hungry." Sean blinked, an innocent expression on his face, and pointed to the glass door on the ground floor. I turned to look and immediately saw 4 glowing characters on the sign, "Handmade dumplings." It was a small restaurant. I let out a sigh of relief. From behind me, Sean chuckled softly, then leaned down close to my ear. "Why so tense, Luna? Your heart is beating so fast. I can hear everything." "Hey, that's too much, you're exaggerating." I calmly pushed him away. "Excuse me, I'm a walking corpse, my heart doesn't beat." Sean tusked, then reached out and patted my head. "Don't talk nonsense." The restaurant today was truly excellent, a shame there was no ketchup. But to my surprise, Sean had already prepared some for me. "Oh, so you're eating ketchup now too." Watching him calmly eat 3 dumplings dipped in ketchup, I was astonished. "Weren't you so stubborn about it before?" Sean nonchalantly replied. "Just getting used to it." I immediately understood the implication of his words and pressed my lips together to suppress a smile. After we finished eating, Sean asked me where I planned to stay tonight. "My apartment lock has been changed, but after all this, I still feel scared. Plus, a stranger slept in my bed. I definitely can't sleep there." After hesitating for a moment, I said, "How about a hotel?" Sean nodded and drove me there. I booked a room on my phone, thought for a moment, and then booked the presidential suite. Done, I looked at Sean. "Are you busy tonight? If not, will you sleep with me?" "What the?" The car suddenly braked sharply. I was thrown forward by the inertia, then yanked back by the seatbelt, hurting so much I got angry. "Can you drive a little more carefully?" Sean stopped the car completely at the red light, slowly exhaled, and turned his head to look at me. "What did you just say?" Annoyed, I repeated. "I said I want you to come to the hotel and sleep with me." Sean was perfectly calm. "Are you sure?" I held up my phone. "What's not to be sure about? I've already booked it." He was silent for a few seconds. "As long as you don't regret it, do we need to buy anything?" I was puzzled. "Buy what?" Don't hotels have everything? Right. The red light still had 20 seconds. Sean didn't say anything more. The atmosphere in the car suddenly changed. My heart pounded. I wanted to say something, anything, but I didn't know where to start. I could only watch the countdown on the traffic light with him. 3 seconds left. Suddenly, he leaned in without a word and placed a kiss on my lips. The kiss was as light as a dragonfly skimming water, a soft touch before he pulled away. Sean released the handbrake and hit the gas, the car speeding through the intersection. One hand on the steering wheel, the other touching his lips, he said with a feigned tone of complaint, but his eyes couldn't hide a smile. If the traffic camera caught that, I'd have to write a self-criticism report. I also reached up to touch my lips. The kiss was so quick, I didn't feel much, just a soft, cool sensation like a piece of pudding touching my mouth. At the hotel, I checked in and took the key card to our floor. In the elevator, Sean took my hand, gently caressing the back of it. You're still a student, I'll sleep on the sofa, okay? I was stunned, realizing I hadn't been clear earlier and he had misunderstood. A naughty thought suddenly sparked in my mind. I reached out and lightly tugged at his collar, whispering, Really, you're actually going to sleep on the sofa? Sean looked down at me, his throat moving slightly. His hand, placed on my back, felt like a warning. Don't tease me, we've only just started dating, this isn't right, he stammered. I bent down, trying to suppress my laughter. Oh, so we're dating? Since when? Why didn't I know? Ding, the elevator arrived. I pretended to pull away, but Sean held my waist tightly, pulling me back with a force that made it impossible to resist. I squirmed slightly. What are you doing? He stared at me, his dark eyes filled with intense emotion. After a long moment, Sean lowered his head and gently kissed the corner of my lips. His deep voice whispered into my ear, Was I wrong? I was wrong. I forgot to tell you that I like you, Luna. Will you be my girlfriend? You absolutely have to, right? My heart soared with joy, but I maintained a calm exterior, simply humming softly, then pushed Sean away. Go into the room first. The moment I swiped the card and opened the door, Sean froze. I suppressed my laughter and stepped inside. Before I could take 2 steps, I was pulled back. Sean pressed on my shoulder, his lips curving into a knowing, meaningful smile. Well played, Luna, you really tricked me. I feigned innocence. Tricked you? About what? I never said we were sharing a room, you just overthought things. Sean narrowed his eyes slightly, his fingertip gently tracing my shoulder. Really? Really? I nodded, seriously advising, Officer Sean, you need to separate your work life from your personal life. Don't let professional habits affect your daily life. He stared at me for a moment, then suddenly chuckled softly, his finger tracing a line from my neck up to my chin. So, according to you, how should a police officer with occupational hazards deal with a trickster like you? Sensing danger, I immediately pulled back my neck and tried to run, but before I could, Sean hoisted me onto his shoulder. My vision suddenly shot upwards. I struggled repeatedly. Put me down, Sean. He calmly walked into the living room and set me down on the sofa. Before I could even protest, he leaned down and kissed me. Every word I wanted to say was blocked by his soft lips. The kiss carried a scorching breath, leaving me with no strength to resist. Only when I was nearly out of breath did Sean slightly loosen his hold, his finger gently stroking my lips. His voice was full of deep meaning. Figured out what I should do to you. I gasped, my eyes wide. Hey, where are you taking me now? Before I could finish, I was lifted bridal style. Sean walked around the room as if on a tour. Oh, there's a bedroom here. He pushed the door open, entered, and gently tossed me onto the bed, then leaned down, and his warm kiss engulfed me again. A moment later, still breathless, I was pulled up by him, and he continued carrying me. Let's see, there's another room. A presidential suite really is something else. He walked into the main bedroom, put me on the bed again, and continued to kiss me until I could no longer resist. He stood up, looking out. Are there any more rooms? I shook my head repeatedly, a limp mess on the bed. That's it, all of them. Really? Sean smiled, picked me up again, and slowly walked out. I've never stayed in a presidential suite before. The layout seems quite complex. How about Luna gives me a more thorough tour? That damn Sean. I shouldn't have let him come over. The next morning, looking in the mirror, I saw that the bite mark on the corner of my lip was starting to blister. I was so furious that I ignored Sean all day. No matter how many pitiful cat and dog stickers he sent me, I stubbornly refused to reply. That evening after class, I checked my phone and saw a message from Sean. Where are you staying tonight? I coldly replied, Yee Hotel. I added, alone. Sean messaged back quickly. I'll drive you. I remained cold. No need. My phone buzzed, indicating 10% battery. I still had a seminar, so I switched to power-saving mode and ignored him. By the time the seminar ended, it was almost 8 p.m. My stomach was rumbling with hunger. As my friend and I complained about the program, we walked towards the school gate. As soon as we stepped outside, I saw a familiar figure, Sean. He stood there, hands in his pockets, his shadow stretching long under the streetlights. I ran a few steps and placed my hand on his face. It was ice cold. I couldn't help but feel anxious. "Why are you here? Have you been waiting long? I told you not to come." Sean rubbed his face against my palm like a small puppy seeking warmth. "Not long, I saw your schedule." I knew he had my schedule, but it didn't say I had a seminar today. Seeing the tip of his nose red from the cold, my heart ached. I immediately pulled him back to the parking lot. "How did you get here? Where's your car? Hurry, get in and warm up." But once inside the car, I realized it wasn't cold at all. The warmth from the heater was still lingering. Ah, so he deliberately went out into the cold and pretended to be pitiful, huh? I shot Sean a look, then deliberately reached out to check the air conditioner's vent. "Oh, this heater is great. It warms up instantly the moment you get in." Sean caught my meaning and immediately chuckled, pulling me into a hug. "Caught me, did you?" I pinched his arm. "Do you know how childish you are?" Sean leaned his face in and lightly kissed my fingertip, his voice pitiful. "Because my girlfriend ignored me all day. What else was I supposed to do?" "Stop pretending." My fingertip where he'd kissed it felt hot as if burned. "You're a fraud, a con artist." Sean chuckled softly, pulling me closer, his breath lightly fanning my ear. "Oh, so Luna, how are you going to punish me?" I looked at his face, inches from mine, and remained silent for a few seconds. Then, I lightly stood on tiptoes and placed a kiss on his lips. "Then I'll punish you with a kiss." This kiss almost gave me a new canker sore, but out of consideration for Sean having bought me milk tea, pastries, and baked potatoes, I reluctantly didn't argue with him. "Still at the hotel tonight?" he asked. I took a sip of milk tea and nodded. "Of course, I haven't found a new place yet. I've decided to just buy a new apartment. I can't live in the old one anymore. It feels too unlucky." Sean paused for a moment, hearing that, then said, "There's a place for sale in my neighborhood right now. Do you want to go see it?" I knew Sean's apartment complex wasn't too far from my school, so I nodded. "Sure." After dinner, he drove me there. The complex was quite large. The apartment in Building 7 was the nicest one with a very open view. From the window, you could directly see the sparkling lights of the river. "Can we just walk in like this?" I watched him enter the password to open the door, feeling something was a bit off. Sean chuckled. "It's fine. I know the owner." He leaned aside, letting me enter, then switched on the lights. "This apartment has only had basic plumbing, electricity, and repairs done. No one has lived here yet." I walked around. The layout was quite good. The living room had large floor-to-ceiling windows, and looking out at the river at night was incredibly beautiful. "Not bad," I nodded. I looked at Sean. "Give me the owner's number. I'll ask whether it's more reasonable to rent or buy." He looked at me. "Whether you want to rent or buy, it's fine as long as you think it's reasonable." I froze for a moment, feeling there was something wrong with that statement. I stared at him for a few seconds, then asked suspiciously, "This isn't your place, is it?" Sean shook his head. "No." I scratched my head, feeling guilty for wrongly suspecting him. But then he continued, "It's my mother's, okay." I really wanted to hit him for talking in riddles like that. Sean chuckled, pulled my hand, and led me down one floor, pointing to another door. "This is my place." At this point, I seriously wanted to punch him. "Hey, isn't this basically inviting me to live with you?" "It's different," Sean said, entering the password in front of me and pulling me inside. "You can know my apartment code, but you don't need to tell me yours." "Huh?" I said, completely confused. He patted my head, his voice gentle. "What I mean is, I can protect you at any time, but I'll always respect you. Having you live directly upstairs means I can always see you, which makes me happy and puts my mind at ease." I stared blankly at Sean, watching the warm yellow light fall on his eyes. His gaze was so irresistibly gentle, completely different from the cold aloofness he'd shown on the first day we met. "The robbery suspect actually confessed that her reason for targeting you was partly because you have money, and partly because you live alone. A young woman living alone, with only one apartment per floor and not particularly close neighbors. If someone deliberately impersonated you and entered your home, no one would suspect anything, even if they stayed there all day." Just thinking about that possibility, I couldn't stop myself from worrying. Sean gently lifted my face, his voice low. I brought you here simply because I want you to be within my sight. That's the only way I can feel at ease, but if you don't like it, I won't force you. I'll help you find another place. Our eyes met. In Sean's eyes, there was only warmth and boundless affection. It turns out, when you truly like someone and care for them, you can't hide it. You'll instinctively want to be close to them, finding every way to treat them well. Just like I never told him that I already owned an apartment directly across from their police station. The first time he gave me a ride, I didn't say anything because I wanted more chances to be near him. And later, I still didn't say anything, just because I wanted a reason to see him again. Thinking this, I slowly smiled, wrapped my arms around Sean's shoulders, and gave him a long, tender kiss under the warm light. "All right," I whispered, lightly rubbing my lips against the corner of his mouth in the space between kisses. "So, from now on, you just have to come upstairs to watch my boss do its backflips." Sean's eyes lit up and his arms tightened around me. "You agree?" I softly hummed. I agree." Sean said nothing more, just lowered his head and kissed me again, his burning breath seemingly wanting to incinerate the cold winter night. He never actually told me that the first time he saw me wasn't on the food street, but in the residential area across from the police station. That day, he received a call about a case, went to the scene, and coincidentally saw me squatting downstairs, feeding cats. That day, I was wearing an oversized hoodie and a fluffy hat, sitting among the cats, looking soft, just like a little kitten. So later, when he saw me again on the food street, Sean had a momentary fright. Could this girl really be the suspect? But thankfully, she was just a soft, adorable little kitten. And now, this little kitten belonged to him completely.